let's talk more about a third rail, since clearly Caleb Williams isn't that third rail. The third rail is DJ Moore saying, when he was asked point blank, has the coach, lost the locker room? And he goes, I want to say no. And he does that 48 hours after strolling off in the middle of a play because either he thought it was over or just was particularly frustrated and just really lost his cool in the moment, and how that's indicative of what's going on between Eberflus and this locker room, certainly in the wake of that Hail Mary. So I ask you, what is the state of that locker room when it comes to the head coach as he's about to make this announcement official shortly?
We love when players like DJ Moore are that open, but I think that and he wants to just say the truth, and that could run him into some trouble. Look, I'll say this about DJ Moore, like as an aside, like DJ is not going to win any body language Olympics, right? Like that's just not, that's just his style. So, I'm sure
I saw it during the broadcast meeting when we were sitting with him, Kevin.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's just his personality.
I know.
And my take on that, Rich, is if you're the highest paid player on the team, like you should want that perception to be different. He's a phenomenal player. You never heard, and you still have never heard an ounce about any work ethic issues. But obviously this thing through his lens, isn't working. And this is somebody who put up phenomenal numbers with Justin Fields, who the Bears deemed tradable. And but I do think you bring up a good point about the Hail Mary. Like, I don't want to say, like, that didn't break the team in terms of, like, that's not why Caleb Williams is struggling. That's not why, look, you got injuries. You do have a lot of injuries going on. But I do think that created this rift. And whether it's team versus Eberflus or offenses versus defense, there have been way too many team meetings. Like, I would love, Rich, to not have to write another article about, well, they had a team meeting and everyone was having some real talk in there. Like, go win football games is their job. And there's too much chatter. There's too much talk internally, externally, and it all stems from the way that game ended, but maybe more importantly, the way that Matt Eberflus in the moment just didn't take full responsibility for, it's a fluke. It's called a Hail Mary for a reason. We all get it. But there are 100 million different things, right? Maybe not 100, 100 different things the Bears could have done to prevent that from happening, and they did zero of them. So I think that still is obviously felt in this building. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done to get everybody feeling better. Because one of the reasons they kept Matt Eberflus after last year, Ryan Pohl said it, because the way he captained the ship, the way that when things got really rocky at the beginning of last year, they had the losing streak, he was the one that steadied it. A coordinator resigned, another position coach was let go. He steadied the ship. And in the last two games since the Hail Mary, he has not done that.
Can you recall a more high-staked Bears-Packers rivalry game than this one in recent memory?
Rich, I'll take you back to 2014.
Okay.
That was the worst Bears team in terms of drama I've ever covered. This team still cannot hold a candle to some of the things that happened on that team, which says a lot about 2014 Bears.
You want to refresh memories on that? Like what?
So you had Mark Trestman was the head coach. You had Jake Cutler got benched late in the season. Aaron Cromer got in trouble and had to apologize to the team for talking to a reporter, got leaked out. You had they had they had Martellus Bennett body slammed Kyle Fuller in training camp. It was a mess. It was just beyond. And that team went to Green Bay with a lot of stuff going on. Like, they just got to find a way. And they'd won in Lambeau the year before. And the final score, I think, was 55-14. I want to say Rodgers Packers were up 35-0 at halftime. So when Bears fans, or maybe it was 42-0, the Bears fans have been saying that the theme this week, Rich, has been, well, it can't get worse than losing 19-3 to the Patriots. Oh, well, because if you lose to the Packers, at least the Packers are a good team, right? But that rivalry means the world to the McCaskey family. And if they go out in Soldier Field in front of their home fans and do what they did in 2014 or in I can pick any other year that they've had an embarrassing loss to the Packers. There have been several. Like, that would be rough. And I don't know how they would respond to that. So, yes, there's a lot at stake for this game. And as you mentioned, Rich, like, it's a weird dynamic here because I've covered Bears teams that have not been good. This team's 4-5, and they have better talent than almost any team here in the last decade, except for 2018, which makes everything so much more confounding. So, yeah, it's a big one because after Green Bay, there's no let up. Minnesota comes to town, in Detroit on Thanksgiving, travel to San Francisco, travel to Minnesota on Monday night. I mean, it's an absolute gauntlet. And, you know, look, I think everybody on this team they're just like, if they could beat the Packers on Sunday, that is like the perfect way to just for a moment silence everything, to beat your rivals, to get an upset, to get the win at home. But yeah, I mean, I have seen worse here, Rich, which it just speaks a lot to the building. But at least I think this time they have the quarterback. I still think they do. And maybe when this is all said and done, at least he can maybe help them get out of this.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.